Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Tuesday, June 11th edition of the MMAOB Daily Show. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. Going to be taking you through the latest in MMA. First and foremost, follow me on Twitter at MMAdamMartin. Follow the podcast at MMAOddsbreaker.com and on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, share. Any help's appreciated, guys. Just get the word out there. I'm enjoying doing the podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying the content, so keep sharing it. Also, I write for SureDog.com, BJPen.com, MMAnews.com, and MMAratings.net. So check out all those websites. Right before I get into the MMA news of the day, oh man, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys watched the Raptors game last night. I mean, most people in the world probably watched that game. Crazy game. Lost by 1 point. Can't believe it. Lowry had a game-winning chance at the end of the game. He had his shot blocked by Draymond Green, hit the back of the backboard, which was it looked bad, but he says it was blocked. So lost by 1 point. Raptors still have a 3-2 lead heading into Oakland in Game 6 on Thursday. So disappointing, heartbreaking loss. I mean, that was a gut punch right there. Probably one of the most intense games I've ever seen. I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. So yeah. Raptors lose by 1 point, but they still have a 3-2 lead. So we'll see what happens in Game 6. And if not, they have Game 7 to win too. So they had 3 chances to take home the title. We'll see what happens. But prayers to KD. I know he got hurt towards Achilles from what I'm hearing, so very disappointing. But yeah, we'll see what happens in Game 6. Okay, so let's get into MMA now. Today's just going to be UFC 238 followed. There's not too much crazy stuff that went on as far as fight announcements or stuff like that goes. So I'll just talk about some things that we'll type some loose ends from UFC 238. So let's go right through it. First and foremost, Ricardo Lamas actually wrote a statement on his Instagram today, released one, and also posted some pictures of a nasty injury that he received. He broke his jaw in three places due to that knockout loss to Calvin Kattar. So very disappointing knockout loss for Ricardo Lamas there, and devastating too. Go to his Instagram, you can see the picture. I mean, it doesn't look good, obviously. He showed the x-rays of the fractures. 37 years old now, and he's been knocked out 3 times in the UFC. He's been knocked out 5 times overall, 2 times in the WEC as well. So this is tough to watch. I mean, he's 37. He's getting up there in age. He's a Chicago native. I know he doesn't want to lose like that in front of his hometown, but unfortunately he did. He's lost 3 of his last 4. At this point, you got to wonder how much fights he has left. He's a warrior, so he probably will want to fight again, but he should talk to his family and just decide, is this what I want to do now? Because I think, like I said this the other day, I think he'd be a great coach. He's got a family. He says his 3rd child's on the way in August, so he's got a lot going on outside the octagon right now. I don't know if fighting is the best idea for him. Of course, he's losing to top guys. We have to mention that. He's losing to elite fighters, no doubt about it, but he's getting brutally knocked out now, so that's not good to see. Love the guy. Hope he's okay. Hope the surgery went well, and we'll see what happens with Ricardo Lamas. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I wouldn't be surprised if he fights again, and I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to hang them up. We've seen a lot of fighters hang up their gloves recently, and Lamas could be another guy, although I guess if I'm a betting man, I'd say he takes one more fight, but man, if he gets knocked out again, he's going to probably regret that. All right, Jessica I also commented on her knockout loss to Valentina Shevchenko. We know how brutal that knockout loss was. Probably one of the most vicious KOs in women's MMA history. It's got to be up there with like Home Rousey, Miesha Tate, and Kayla Young from back in the day. I don't know. There's probably some other ones, but yeah, this was a brutal knockout loss. Jessica I went on her Instagram and also her Twitter and just said that first off, she congratulated Shevchenko. She said, great performance. Didn't see the kick coming. Said she's okay. She wanted to thank everyone for the support. Jessica, she's still fairly young. I mean, for sure, she's in her low 30s, so she's got a lot of time left in the sport. I mean, this is the kind of knockout loss that showed where her ceiling is. She's just not an elite fighter in that division. To be fair, no one's probably going to beat Valentina at 125. I don't see it happening anytime soon. So, we have to be fair to Jessica I there. But I don't know. I think she'll stick around 125. I don't see her going back to 135. There's no point in that. But again, it's a situation where she's getting knocked out, and at this point, what's her goal? Does she just want to keep fighting it? I don't think a title shot happening anytime soon. She'll probably have to win like 5 more fights to get a title shot. It's up to her what she wants to do. She's still pretty young, so she'll probably keep training and keep fighting, but definitely should take, I would say the rest of the year off. Maybe she'll return before the end of the year, but she definitely needs some time off because that was a nasty knockout loss. Speaking of bad losses, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, she had a not a horrible loss as far as like getting knocked out goes, but she had a very lopsided loss to Alexa Grasso. And she went on her Instagram and talked about the loss as well and said that, she doesn't know what's going on with her career. She's lost 3 straight fights and that she clearly needs to change some stuff up. She thinks that she's kind of lost the desire and the fire inside her. And I kind of agree. And I think most people listening to this would agree too. We've just haven't seen the same Karolina that we did earlier in her UFC career. Just, I don't know, something's going on with her. She's just not getting better. She's actually kind of getting worse in some ways. So, again, she's talked openly about having a family, and she's 33 now, so she's still fairly young. But for a female, maybe they might retire sooner than males. The female MMA thing in UFC is still a newer thing, so we don't really know when these females are going to retire compared to their male counterparts. Most males retire in their late 30s, 40s. Females maybe retire earlier. We don't know. It's still a young sport. So if I'm a betting man on Karolina, I think she will fight again. She even said she wants to fight again. But man, if she loses again, especially if she gets knocked out like the Andrade knockout, you'd have to think that'd be it for her. So again, it's a situation where she's very popular, but she has a lot of other stuff going on, I think, outside the octagon that she can fall back on if the MMA thing doesn't work out. And right now, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going too well for her. Also, Blagoy Ivanov, he talked about the fight against Tai Tuivasa, and he called out Derrick Lewis for a fight. So I think that's a pretty good fight, actually. Derrick Lewis, he's been kind of disappointing lately. Still a beast, but coming back-to-back losses now against JDS and to DC, and Blagoy's coming off 2 straight wins. Usually the UFC won't do those kind of matchups. The guy have 2 straight wins versus a guy have 2 straight losses, but I like the call-out. I mean, why not? Derrick Lewis needs a fight. Blagoy's moving up in the rankings. Listen, Blagoy's not a great fighter by any means, but he's winning his fight, so good for him. It'd be nice to see him get a finish. Derrick Lewis is a guy that you can actually knock out, but you can also get knocked out by him. So that's an interesting fight. I like that matchup. Smart call, in my opinion. We'll see what happens, but there's that card in Russia later in the summer. Possibly that could be a good time for that fight to happen. And I think that's about it as far as UFC 238 follow goes, guys. What else? Henry Cejudo, actually, I guess I'll bring him up quickly. Talked about the ankle injury that he had. So Eric Kowal of My MMA News last week said that he had heard Henry was injured. And then Henry said, I'm not injured. He was doing jumping jacks and everything. Looks like Eric was right. So, good job, Eric, with that report. No one believed you, but it looks like you were right. Henry's I think he's gonna be fine, but he definitely needs to be in the men for a while. He'll return before the end of the year. There's no doubt about it. We'll see what happens for him next. I still think the Sterling fight, as far as a competitive fight, that's probably the most competitive fight out there. Besides, of course, a Demetrius Johnson trilogy fight, which won't happen because Demetrius is in 1 now. I just don't really see too much of an intrigue in the Cruz fight or the Faber fight or even Garbrandt, considering his 3 straight losses, but I wouldn't put it past the UFC to book those kind of fights because if they think they're bigger money fights, they might do them. So we'll see what happens with Henry Cejudo. But yes, he did injure his ankle, and I think he'll be fine. Some other stuff just to talk about here, wrapping up today's episode. Chris Weidman, also on the weekend, he announced that he's moving up to 205. I love this move for Chris Weidman. It's a long time coming, in my opinion. Luke Rockhold, of course, is moving up to 205 too as well. That's his former rival at 185. Luke Rockhold took the title from him at UFC 194. That's the same night Conor knocked out Jose Aldo. So a little while ago now, almost 4 years ago now. Chris Weidman is a great fighter, but I think that he definitely had his time run up at 185. His chin looked very compromised at 185. I'm just pulling out his record right now, guys. He just, I don't know. He kind of flamed out a little bit. He's still 34, so he's still, he's at the end of his prime. That's the truth. But he still has some finishing ability. Like, remember the Kelvin Gastelum fight 2 years ago? He finished Kelvin Gastelum. That's a great win on paper right now. Of course, coming off the knockout loss to Ronaldo Jacare Souza, but he was winning that fight before the knockout loss. So it is what it is. Chris Weidman, I think his chin was compromised at 185. He had a bad weight cut, a hard weight cut. I think 205 is a better weight class for him. He's a big guy, 6'2", 78-inch reach. He'll do fine in that weight class. Who should he fight in this first fight at the weight? Let me take a look at the rankings right now. Chris Weidman. It's hard to say. I mean, they could use him as fodder for a guy like Alexander Rakic or Dominic Reyes, someone like that, Johnny Walker. Or you could give him a veteran like Shogun. You can give him a veteran like Ilir Latifi. You can give him someone like Corey Anderson, Misha Serkinov, Nikita Kralov. There are a lot of options for Chris Weidman here. I mean, heck, if Gustafsson wants to come change his mind and fight again, Gustafsson versus Chris Weidman's a great fight. So I like this move for him. I think it's a really smart move by Chris Weidman. I mean, even the Luke Rockhold rematch at 205 is an interesting fight. Or Jan Blachowicz, win or lose against Luke Rockhold. There's a lot of good fights for Chris Weidman at 205. He made the right move moving up to 185. He was ranked number 7 at 185, so he was still in the top 10, but dropping. I like this move for him. David White mentioned that Jared Cannonier's a fight for him, but someone was like, Jared's at 185 now. He's like, oh, yeah, well, I still like the fight. That would be a good fight, but Jared's at 185 now. If Jared moved back up to 205, yes, the Weidman versus Jared Cannonier fight would be good, but as of right now, Weidman's moving to 205, so we'll see what happens for him. I think he'll return later this year. He's always hurt. That's the problem with Chris Weidman, always injured, but when he's ready to come back and he's healthy, it makes a lot of sense, especially fighting in that New York MSG card. I believe that's in November. That would make a lot of sense for Chris Weidman. What else? Okay, Chris Cyborg Santos. Sorry, not Cyborg Santos. Chris Cyborg Justino. She's not Cyborg Santos anymore. I don't know why I said that. She says she's going to test free agency. So she won an aerial show yesterday, and she said, I'm going to test free agency after my fight against Felicia Spencer, UFC 240. And great move by Cyborg. You know, from O'Brien, he was on his Twitter saying that he thinks that DAZN will make a pitch to Chris Weidman to box for them. I think that makes a lot of sense. DAZN has very deep pockets. They have a lot of money they can pay her. Also, professional wrestling is something she's interested in. And even the UFC. I mean, there's still a chance you can come back to the UFC, but she had some very interesting comments about Dana White, and she was very upset at him because Dana said that she doesn't want to fight Amanda Nunes again. And she said, as soon as the fight ended, I texted him saying I want to fight. And she said, I want to have the rematch with Nunes. Very weird by Dana White, but I remember, you know, he called her Wanderlei Silva in a dress all those years ago. Joe Rogan joked around that she had a dick, and Dana White was laughing about that. So Dana White's never really treated Chris Cyborg with the respect I think she deserves. Yes, she did test positive for steroids once. We don't know that, but she seems to have really recovered as far as her image goes. You know, she's right now in South Africa, training with Don Madge, but also, you know, helping young children there that need a guidance and need that kind of figure in their life. So she's, from everything I've heard, she's just a great person and you know, a great fighter. It's obviously she's coming off the loss to Nunes. She's on the downside of her career, possibly, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to write her off just after one loss to Nunes. I still think Chris Cyborg's a great fighter. She's going to be a big favorite, I would assume, over Felicia Spencer. That's going to be an interesting fight. If she goes out there and knocks out Felicia Spencer in the first round, that'll really up her value heading into free agency. I think Bellator is someone that could possibly offer Chris a fight as well. They do have a featherweight division. They have Julia Budd out there, so there's that chance as well. I don't know. We'll see. UFC, I'm not going to say they're not going to bring her back, but it sounds like she doesn't want to come back. Sounds like she has other plans, and we'll see what happens as far as Chris Cyborg goes. But is it that hard for Dana White just to show a little bit of respect to these fighters? Come on, they do so much for them. Anyways, last thing I want to talk about here, I guess, is Lorenzo. Actually, that's a good segue. Lorenzo Fertitta, former UFC owner, he's out there in the news again because he wants to buy an NFL team. So that's the last thing I was going to talk about today. This is really MMA related at this point. He sold, of course, him and brother Frank, they sold the UFC for $4 billion to WMEIMG, now Endeavor. He's got a ton of money. He wanted to buy the Carolina Panthers last year. That didn't happen. Right now, there's no opportunities according to Fertitta, but he still wants to buy a team. The guy's rich. The guy's proven that he can own a sports franchise. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a chance in the future we will see Lorenzo Fertitta as an NFL owner. So that's about it, guys. That's the last thing I want to talk about today. Not a ton of news, like I said, but definitely a few things I want to mention. Again, follow me on Twitter at MMAdamMartin. Follow this podcast at MMAOddsbreaker.com. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's on SoundCloud as well. Like, again, there's some issues with the iTunes. I'm still trying to fix that. Not sure when that's going to happen, but hopefully soon. Also, check me out at shirtar.com, bjpen.com, MMAnews.com, and MMAratings.net. I'll be back tomorrow morning, guys, with the Wednesday edition. I am leaving Thursday for a small vacation on the weekend, so I'll probably record the Bellator preview probably tomorrow night, so I'll put that up. Everything will be up. There will still be 5 episodes this week, Monday to Friday. I'm always doing Monday to Friday for you guys, so definitely check it out. But yes, for the rest of the day, enjoy it, guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the Wednesday edition of the MMAOB Daily.